My friend told me to forgive my abuser, so I turned her logic back on her. I cut my family off last year. No more phone calls, no more fake holidays, no more pretending things were fine. I was done. For 36 years, I was the scapegoat, the one who always had to apologize, had to make peace, had to carry everyone's emotional baggage like it was mine. I was done being the emotional trash can for people who never gave a shit about me unless they needed someone to blame. And yeah, going no contact was the hardest decision I've ever made, not because I miss them, but because there's always someone who doesn't get it and wants to play peacekeeper. And unfortunately, one of those people was my own friend. She knows my history. I've told her everything. The manipulation, the gaslighting, how my mom would twist every argument until I was the villain, how she'd scream at me, ignore me, guilt me for existing, and then act like she was the victim, how I practically raised my siblings while she sat on the couch, how I begged her to go to therapy and she refused every time. I told her all of it. But a few weeks before Mother's Day, my friend started pushing me. She said, "You should really call your mom. It's Mother's Day. You only get one." I was like, "Are you serious?" And I calmly reminded her, again, why I don't speak to my mom. But she just doubled down. She goes, "Well, being a parent is hard. You're not a mom, so you don't get it. Maybe your mom was doing her best. And as the oldest, you should have helped more around the house. Maybe if you had stepped up more, things wouldn't have been so hard for her." I just stared at her. Like, was she really blaming me for being abused as a kid? I took a deep breath and said, "So what you're saying is, if I had done more chores, if I had accepted more parentification and taken more responsibility as a child, then maybe I wouldn't have been abused? That if I had just been a better little servant, my mom might have loved me the right way?" And she goes, "That's not what I meant." But I cut her off because I was done. I said, "Okay, so let's take your logic and flip it. Your ex-husband used to scream at you, right? Call you names, throw shit. Should you have helped him more around the house? Maybe if you'd had dinner ready 10 minutes earlier, he wouldn't have yelled. Maybe if you had just smiled more, he wouldn't have been so stressed." And her face just dropped. So I kept going. "You were an adult and still couldn't stop a grown man from abusing you. So what the fuck makes you think I, as a child, could have stopped a grown woman from tearing me down every single day? You had a job, a car, friends, and you still couldn't leave him for years. And you think I had power as a little girl?" She just stood there, stunned, didn't say a word. Then the tears started and she walked off. Later, our mutual friend started texting me, saying she meant well and you didn't have to go that hard and she just doesn't understand what you went through. But here's the thing. She didn't need to understand. She just needed to shut the fuck up and listen. You don't tell someone to let bygones be bygones when they're talking about abuse. You don't pressure people to reconcile with their trauma just because a holiday is coming up. Love doesn't erase pain, blood doesn't erase abuse, and being someone's parent doesn't give them a free pass to destroy their kids and expect flowers once a year. She tried to guilt me into forgiving someone who broke me. So I gave her a taste of what that guilt feels like when it's flipped back at her.